work that you all did in covering us in 2024, and we hope that you and the rest of the community is off to a happy new year in 2025. That said, I want to begin today with an important announcement and let you know that Interim Police Chief James Graybois has been named Montgomery's permanent police chief for the Montgomery Police Department. Chief Graybois has shown outstanding leadership during his tenure, and I'm confident that he will continue to lead the Montgomery Police Department with integrity, vision, and a steadfast commitment to our community safety. As we welcome 2025, I want to reflect on the transformative strides we have made in 2024 and the transformation we want to continue to see in 2025. This past year, we strengthened our city's foundation, building on our shared community of progress, equity, and opportunity. Public safety remains a top priority, and I'm proud to share that Montgomery experienced fewer homicides in 2024 than the previous year, a clear step forward and one that is really a culmination of community, public safety, other stakeholders across this city, across this state, really coming together to address the issue of violent crime. We're grateful for our faith leaders, our grassroots leaders, our schools, our parents, our family members, our friends, so many others who emphasize conflict resolution and de-escalation tactics. We're also grateful for our Office of Violence Prevention and many of their partners. We're grateful for our County Commission, our Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, the Sheriff Derek Cunningham, as well as the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, as well as our federal partners in law enforcement. This truly has been a team effort, and we're grateful to see the reduction, although we know more work has to be done. One homicide is one too many, and so we will not rest with just seeing the reduction, and that's why we will not only continue to invest time and effort, but also resources into being proactive as it relates to violence prevention. That said, we did see a slight uptick in property crimes year over year. Although we saw positive strides in the second half of the year, year over year, we saw a single-digit increase where that's concerned. So that's concerning for us in the area of need, and one that I've expressed to Chief Graybois as well as MPD leadership of what we need to do moving forward to make sure that whether you're a business owner or whether you have real estate or if it's your vehicle or if it's your person, whatever it may be, that people feel safe when working in our city, people feel safe living here, and people feel safe visiting our city. And we will continue to work in this area. But again, we see an overall trend of decline, in particular over the second half of the year. And so this is a call to action for all of us. By working together collectively, we can bring those numbers down and create an even safer city for everyone. Our commitment to public safety is further reinforced by the launch of the Together We Rise initiative, announced just weeks ago. This comprehensive strategy focuses on community engagement, violence prevention, and collaboration across departments, both with the city as well as the county, as well as other stakeholders in our community. With $3.4 million in funding from both the City of Montgomery and Montgomery County, this initiative will fully roll out in 2025. We just had a conversation about it in this morning's staff meeting, and we're encouraged by the progress that we are making. We believe by empowering faith-based organizations, leveraging Crime Stoppers' expertise, and implementing a robust community violence intervention program, bringing in credible messengers and those who are trusted in the community, we're addressing public safety holistically. This initiative also prioritizes community policing, addressing root causes of crime, and fostering trust between law enforcement and residents. As Chief Graybois often reminds us, public safety is a shared responsibility, and through Together We Rise, we're building a city where everyone feels safe, supported, and empowered. Education also saw meaningful progress in 2024 with the renewal of the school tax ensuring critical resources for our students, teachers, and parents. This sets the stage for creating a public school system that rivals the very best in the state of Alabama. Our Montgomery Forward initiative continues to transform the city with several key projects nearing completion in 2025. Renovations and new construction has been long discussed about our community centers and in other places of need like Kalmar Drive, Sheridan Heights, Chisholm, and the Crump Center. These will provide safe spaces for youth engagement, elder and senior programming, as well as community building. We're also nearing completion of Fire Station 10, a $19 million state-of-the-art facility in West Montgomery, right next to Whole Street Baptist Church on Court Street, just adjacent to where we'll be putting another $3 million plus into a renovated farmers market on top of the $10 million that's going into the infrastructure for Fairview Avenue between Court Street and I-65. And that does not include the advent of the $35 million grant that we received from the Biden-Harris administration into West Montgomery and other investments that are going on right on the Oak Street and Fairview corridor. So when you consider this just in the West Fairview corridor alone, we're talking upwards of $65 million, and that's just from the government standpoint. We'll see more of that coming from the private sector as we see the interest and we see the partnerships that have come as a result of government infusing and incentivizing those in the private sector to come to the table to recognize the history of West Montgomery, the history of the Voting Rights Trail right here in our community, and things that we believe will not only bring back and strengthen small businesses, but will also bring back residences and other needs that we would like to see along this trail, from green space to data, tech infrastructure, bike lanes and trails, and quality of life projects that we believe are so important to all citizens here in Montgomery. Our local economy is also stronger than ever, with a small business one-stop shop, or SBOSS, as we call it, now open in the Crest Building, providing invaluable resources to entrepreneurs and strengthening Montgomery's business community. Finally, with all of this work that we have recognized, we talk about the federal grants, and I said $35 million. Let me correct myself. I want to make sure I don't shortchange it. It's $36.6 million for West Montgomery. These are just some of the investments that have been made in 2024 and things that will carry us into 2025, because we believe it's very important that from the standpoint of equity that we do things to overcompensate for the challenges, for the lack of investment over the years and decades of the past, while we look forward to the type of city we want to be of the future. And we're excited about our city. We're excited about the growth and the progress. We're excited about the community support that we receive from so many individuals, so many civic groups, so many houses of worship, and so many organizations that are all pushing not only for Montgomery, but really the river region and central Alabama to be the prime destination that we know that it can be and will be. And so with all of this, we're simply proud to say that we're excited about 2024 and some of the accomplishments, but we're even more motivated to increase those accomplishments in 2025. So with that, I want to thank you again for the work that you do, for bringing this information to the residents of the city of Montgomery, the River Region, Central Alabama, and the rest of the state, and talking about all the progress that's being made right here in our city. So with that, I'll end my remarks and take any questions that you may have at this time. Yes.
I know you mentioned that Gray Boys is the named permanent chief. A two-part question for you. How many candidates did you all interview, and how much was it the cost for that search firm?
Well, we took, I think, about 44 resumes for that and applications. They helped us screen a number of candidates, probably down to the final 10. We interviewed 4. candidates ourselves. And I don't know the cost, but we'd be more than willing to share that with you.
What was it that made Chief Greg Boyd stand out for the city of Montgomery?
I think one, his leadership and what he's been doing in the interim. I told him from day one, the interim, you're always under evaluation. That there's good and bad with being an interim leader. You're always subject to second guessing some things that you can do, some things you can't do because you're not the permanent person. But he really took it with a lot of passion, a lot of purpose for the city of Montgomery. Although he had been not been a chief for some time and had been working with the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, he really dove right into MPD. He really dove into not only things that were being done well from his days in the past, but also some things that he had seen around the state and around the country in ways that he thought we could improve moving forward. I also thought it was very important that he had some great initiatives around recruiting and increasing manpower and increasing that pipeline of law enforcement. We see that around the country, there being a shortage of law enforcement as a career, and Chief Greg Boyd came right in and dealt with that. I also thought his ability to collaborate with Sheriff's Department, with those, again, at Aaliyah and our federal partners was positive. And there also seemed to be, I think, an interest in making sure that he was trying to improve morale within the police department, but also improve confidence in the community. And those two things go hand in hand. And I think his familiarity with so many, not only in the law enforcement community, but so many in the community overall was a plus. And finally, it ultimately comes down to performance. You can have all those things, but if the performance isn't there, then it's going to be a challenge to justify that type of hire. But we've seen a downward trend in these last several months in crime. We talked about that. We've shared that with you all in the media and with the community. And while that's not just the police chief, it is our men and women, rank and file police officers. It is the command staff who are really implementing that, our partners, again, at the county and with the state. You have to acknowledge and certainly appreciate what he has done as a leader to help with that. And I think to get out there on the street, to make sure that he is on the scene and to make sure he is giving me the updates that are needed, as well as our special advisor, former director of public safety, Lawrence Batiste from Mobile, I think making sure that all of those things were communicated to us, as well as new ideas and initiatives, have been helpful. So the numbers certainly are a big part of that. I think the community confidence, city council also want to make sure I highlight their feedback being very integral with this as well. And those are the things that have led us to the decision, along with interviewing and competing fairly well with other candidates and the feedback that we got from the panel that we had of community leaders and stakeholders that assess all of the interested parties and those finalists that we did have for police chief.
So you guys are starting 2025 off with a permanent chief of police,
Yeah.
and then you all are going to roll out this Together We Rise initiative, which coincide with public safety and making sure that this can be, I guess, for community members, can you talk a little bit more about what they can expect when it comes to this initiative and kind of seeing it in real time and playing out?
Sure. Let me speak to this from the police standpoint, because I think this is very important. 21st century policing has been around for now a number of years. It came out of the Obama administration. Our own Brian Stevenson, executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative and resident of Montgomery, was a part of that panel. That's something that we have implemented. We've had it implemented for some time, but I don't know that we have followed it as enthusiastically as I would like to see. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to take a holistic approach to public safety. Chief Greg Boyd understands that that's a priority for me, because I believe that we have to learn from the mistakes of the past nationally when it comes to public safety and policing, and understand how we improve those steps. And that means making sure that it's not just about force, but it's also about trust. And it's about making sure that we're using data to solve the problems that we have, and that we are doing things in a way to meet the community where we are right now. And that's going to be very, very important for us moving forward, is to continue to utilize that. What the Together We Rise initiative does in bringing on the community violence intervention along with the Office of Violence Prevention, it allows us to bring in trusted messengers, those people in the community, from the community, those who maybe have been on the other side of the law, to be very frank with you, to talk about ways that we can engage those who are most at risk and those who may be on the line, so to speak, but want and are looking for ways to get out of illegal activity. This allows us in this investment, and again, I asked for $6 million. The city and the county were able to come up with $3.4 million. We welcome any additional help from the state of Alabama, from our federal partners to get to that $6 million to fully fund this program. But with the city and county taking the lead on this, we fully believe that this will allow us, along with 21st Century Policing, along with what we have present in the Montgomery Police Department, and the effort and the energy and the purpose that are there in our rank and file officers, to engage the community, to make sure that we're doing things in a holistic manner to reach people who are at risk of committing crime and at risk of being part of this criminal justice system. We want them to be out of that. We want them to be productive members of our community and society. And we want to follow the best practices that we've seen from Baltimore, that we've seen from Milwaukee, that we've seen across this country, Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, and others, to make a tangible difference in the lives of people who are impacted the most by violence, not just happening to them individually, but in their community. And this is a program that Chief Grayboy's participated in, and other faith leaders and community leaders, members of our Office of Violence Prevention, participated in, to see the impact and to hear from those firsthand who weren't always on the side of doing things in a legal and lawful manner, to talk about how fulfilled they were to be able to help other people stay out of that life, to stay out of that cycle. And this is part of that. And what we've seen in those cities and in those communities are a reduction in non-fatal shootings. We've seen a reduction in violent crime overall, and certainly significant reductions in homicides. And that's what we're aiming to do. And we believe that Together We Rise initiative, along with our partners that we've identified in this, will help us do just that. And I think that from the standpoint of the city, having Chief Grayboy familiar with the community now as a permanent chief, along with this new initiative, and the partners that we have, will allow us to have a safer 2025 than even we did with the decline in homicides and non-fatal shootings that we had in 2024. So we want to continue that, and if anything, we want to see it improve even more so.
I'll also ask about this because you didn't touch on it.
Sure.
Of course, we all know it's very cold outside. Can you give an update on the status of the warming center, and then anything being done to help the homeless? And I don't know if you all had conversations with the Salvation Army. I know they continue to look and have faced some challenges in regards to getting a permanent location so they can have that in-house sheltering.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to the warming center, we've got some decisions to make. The city really got into that space during COVID. We were never designed to be in it permanently or indefinitely. So we will continue to maintain it for now, but it is something that we're trying to work with members of our homeless task force and other organizations to come up with a more long-term solution. The city can't afford to be in that space for a number of reasons. We're going to do the very best we can with our partners that are out there each and every day, helping people who are less fortunate on the street. We're not going to turn them away, but the city cannot be in that as it stands right now for an indefinite period. So it literally is touch and go where that's concerned. As it relates to the Salvation Army, we're going to need some community support there. The Salvation Army is ready to get to work. They're ready to put their services back online in our community. We need that because right now the few organizations that we have been overtaxed, and they're overstressed, if you will, because of resources and just manpower. That said, the Salvation Army is having a hard time finding a home. So we need to see where we can help them find a home that is, one, aligned with their mission, and that is aligned with the community as well. So we'll be asking for support where that's concerned to get them back online and fully out there in our community doing the great things that they've done for so many years. And I think with some of their leadership transition, now we can think through what that looks like and how best to implement it for the long term. I think the last thing you asked me about was just kind of the homeless overall. Was that the last?
Yes, the warming center, homeless overall, and Salvation Army.
Yeah, the homeless piece overall, we'll be more assertive in what we're doing to make sure we are finding temporary housing for the homeless. City Council, in the last budget, approved a housing department for the first time in the city's history. We're grateful for that. We've seen that be helpful alongside of the Housing Authority in other cities to come up with solutions for not just the homeless, but even people who, for a short term, need some place to stay, maybe because of a situation they're in at home. They may have a home themselves, but also they need to be somewhere else. So we're looking at everything from tiny homes to other housing initiatives that we can stand up, and we'll be looking for partners to work with that. So that part is going to take a little bit more time. There may be some things we have to do in the short term that we will want to talk about to the City Council before then. But certainly homelessness is an issue. We know it's an issue. We hear it from the community. We hear it from the City Council, and we observe it ourselves. I've seen it within blocks of my house. So I recognize what others are seeing in various parts of the city, and we want to help those who are less fortunate, but we also have to think about it from the government standpoint, what we can do and where we find those partnerships to really address this issue as a community.
What was Chief Greg Moore's reaction to the
Well, he was humbled by the opportunity, and I think his, reaction was certainly positive, and one that he felt was a unique opportunity to serve this community in a different way. Obviously, he's been doing that as interim, but being permanent gives you that opportunity to maybe put your stamp on things in a way that you may not have been able, he may not have been as interim chief. So he's very enthusiastic about it, very motivated to continue the work and to continue the progress of making this an even safer city than we have right now.
They also wanted me to ask about the Big Lots distribution center closings and layoffs or not. Do you know anything about that?
I have not been in touch with the folks from Big Lots, so I don't have any information on that this time. All right. If that does it for the questions, I thank y'all again for coming out and really appreciate all the work that you all have been doing, and we'll continue to stay in touch, and we'll be following up, I'm sure, with Miguel as well. I'm sorry, we got one question? Well, it's significant to bring about clarity and leadership. I think that's always important to have that consistency when you can have that. And I think to make sure that not only our police department is aware, but also the community is aware of who will be leading this organization moving forward, in particular one that's in charge of public safety, is so critical for us. So we don't take it lightly. That's why we have been thorough in our approach to it. I think we've been thorough in everything from utilizing a search firm to utilizing community stakeholders to try to make sure that we scan the nation for the best to lead this department. And so we're excited about Chief Great Boys meeting that standard and leading us forward. All right. Well, let's thank you all again for all your questions. I really, really appreciate all the work. If you have any follow-ups, don't call me, call Miguel. All right. Thanks so much.